would you like to say a few words, or Elliot, would you like to respond?
Elliot.
Okay, well, thank you. And again, I'd also like to thank Bob for hosting this and for inviting me into his inner sanctum to argue with him.
You either,
I think it's good that we have. I think it's good that we have a free and open discussion. Let me start off with just a comment about what Jamyang said. I think the Ladakhi option would be very much to China's liking, because then they could say the whole thing is now a question of Tibetan exiles in India. It doesn't even involve Tibet. So that's a two-edged sword there. With regard to the master plan, I do think I read it correctly. He said it has not been operating, but he still believes in it. At least this is what Tom Laird said. And when I read Tom Laird's book, it really does have the unlike other books. I don't want to get into something else here. Unlike other books, some of them by the Dalai Lama, this really does have the flavor of the Dalai Lama's speech.
Oh, it is the Dalai Lama. But he didn't say that it's just to bring China, Mongolia, and Tibet together.
They said the master plan. Chen really had a master plan.
Yeah, he said it has a master plan, but the master plan is to benefit Tibet. So Tibet can be a major player in the world, is what the master plan is for.
Well,
that's why he wanted to give up being a Lama at the 6th Dalai Lama time.
Okay, but
let's move on to less master plan.
Okay, next question.
Okay, we'll leave the master plan there. If you want to tell me that there are not thousands of Chinese officials who do indeed look at everything that the Dalai Lama says, then I would be willing to accept that as a statement, but to characterize them as ants, I didn't characterize them as ants. I'm just giving a quantified number. I didn't talk about their work habits, whether they're lined up in rows or not. So, I mean, don't make of me a straw man. I'm giving you more than enough real ammunition to go after me with. In terms of the Dalai Lama actually running rings around them because none of the people in the Chinese government are getting the Nobel Peace Prize, they don't look at it that way. What they are getting, and this is what is extremely important to them, is the delegitimization of the idea of Tibetan independence, which is to say, as Bob, I'm getting it from the left and right now. Can I? And it's the delegitimization of Tibetan independence. And what I mean by that is this. A Chinese spokesperson stands up and says, Tibet is not an independent country, Tibet has never been an independent country, Tibet should not be an independent country. This is generally treated as, well, it's propaganda or it's boilerplate, whatever. And so China found that, and this has been going on for years, the Dalai Lama has said time and time again, he doesn't want independence, he will not accept independence. Independence is a disaster. He said, independence for Tibet is a disaster. And of course he doesn't want a disaster. And China says, no, 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 no. The Dalai Lama actually secretly wants independence. He wants disguised independence. He has to say it again. And he has to say it again. And he has to say it again. And those of you who follow Tibetan affairs know that this goes on for years and years and years and years. Now, really, do you really think that they just don't understand? Of course they understand. What they found now is that the Dalai Lama is the best spokesperson against Tibetan independence because he goes to see presidents, prime ministers, and tells them he doesn't want independence. He doesn't want independence for Tibet. And there is now a general sense that this independence is some sort of extreme position, some way far out extreme position. There is that sense where it counts in the councils of power. So that's been done. That has been done. So when I say that the policy was basically to use the Dalai Lama in that sense, I find frankly no reason to feel otherwise about it. And when people say to me, oh, no, 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 well, the Dalai Lama doesn't really mean that, or the Dalai Lama doesn't really mean this, it recalls for me many, many years ago the discussions which she used to have in Dharamsala. Whenever there would be some statement from the Dalai Lama, people would try and say, well, he doesn't really mean it. It's the old, in his heart, he believes something else. Frankly, I believe the Dalai Lama when he says that. He really doesn't want independence. He really does think independence for Tibet is disastrous. He really does think... Are you saying that he doesn't tell the truth?
Huh?
When he says that China is a great country and Tibet would benefit by being part of a great country.
If you ask me to respond, I will.
No, no, it's my turn. After me.
I fell into that. He interrupted me, so then he says, now I can...
This might be just raring to go.
Okay, well, I think Bob and I can take it the whole evening, so I'll pass it over to Jamyang.
Okay.
I just want to disagree with both eminent professors here. Starting with Bob here. He talked about the Dalai Lama appointing another Lama in between, maybe as a Regency, and another incarnate Lama who would be valued by the Tibetan public. If one just looks into our recent history, the 13th Dalai Lama, the Regency, the Demo Rinpoche, after the 13th Dalai Lama, before the 14th Rating Tatra, it was a disaster. We lost our country because of those regencies. Not to say that these regencies were evil people, you know. I don't think so at all. And the 13th Dalai Lama, even like the Rating regent, when he was very young, clearly he displayed miracles. Heinrich Harrer said he saw, you know, the footprints that this person left on, you know, on stone. The Dalai Lama was fond of the Rating regent, but somehow politics, by its very nature, is corrupting. And I think in such situations, it is really, even at that time, this is not something really radical we are saying here. Tibetans in the Tibetan assembly, in the Chongdu, at that time, after the 13th Dalai Lama died, they said, let's not get any lamas. Why doesn't the Kashap take over the regency? Or get some other person, or a committee, or let's start a committee. Because if you get a Lama, generally the Lama doesn't have the power. They said it's the Chanzur, the manager, who controls this. And this is on record. So I think we should learn from our own history. You know, like also with His Holiness, asking Lamas to make these political choices is disastrous. In Dharamsala, when there was a bad run of elections for Chidu, I remember 1981, I wrote about it. I got the records for this. We had a parliamentary election which wasn't working too well. So everyone decided, why elect these people? We have the Dalai Lama. We ask him to... Ishi Imji. Imji means to sort out. Ishi is a term for Tibetan for divine wisdom, for gnosis. So they said, let's use the Dalai Lama. If you have the Dalai Lama, let him select the members of parliament. He'll get the good ones. These ones are useless, what you have now. And you know what? He did pick a group. But of course, he picks from a small list that he receives. He doesn't know everyone. So next member of parliament, they turned out even worse. So there was a huge crisis. It's all there in parliamentary records in Dharamsala. 1987, they tried again. And you know what? Then His Holiness, he tried to choose the people he thought in society were the good people, right? The nicest people. And everyone he chose said, sorry, I don't want to be a member of parliament. I'm not. He chose a lot of eminent lamas, and no one wanted to be in politics. So there is a problem. This has to be done by lay politicians. We have to sort this sort of thing out. You know, the ordinary Tibetan has to do it. Therefore, I feel even the Regency, there shouldn't be a Regency again. You know, it means you will destroy the life of another young Lama who will get into politics and who will turn out to be awful. Let him study, let him become a really good Lama and a Tulku and, you know, a good teacher. Don't destroy another life. Because it was tragic what happened to Rating Regent. It's tragic what happened to Demo. These people died in jail. So let's not go into this whole thing. We must learn our lessons. Let's not go into this. Let us, you know, have a democratic government in exile. And for me, this is hugely important because, you know, just after the Dalai Lama made a statement about changing the method of picking the Dalai Lama, 2 weeks later, the Chinese came out, the foreign ministry, with a statement. You know what they said? That the Dalai Lama is trying to revive feudalism again. They tell people in Tibet...
But they always say that.
No, but this especially, this was a special statement. And they tell Tibetans, Dalai Lama lobby, you know, if the Dalai Lama returns, the old system, you know, feudal system will be born again. If we can show the people inside Tibet that in exile, we have a genuine, maybe not perfect, maybe rather kind of noisy because we are living in India, Indian politics are also like that. But it's genuine. If we have something like that, it's like a promise to the people of Tibet that when we get Tibetan independence, it won't be a land of just lamas and aristocrats bossing you again. Although it wasn't that bad in the old days, still we're not even going to have that. You are the masters of your destiny. We are going to have a democracy. So this is the promise that we can make in exile, and at the same time protect the institution of the Dalai Lama and get another Dalai Lama, the 15th incarnation, we can safely get him.